FPL is back, the Premier League starts tomorrow, and today I'm going to run you through my Game Week 1, hopefully final draft. We're going to go through each player one by one, position by position, and I'm going to tell you why I have made the choices that I have, whether I've been umming and ahhing over certain things, whether there are any chances of tiny last-minute adjustments to my squad before the final deadline. I, of course, want to hear your team, so let me know what you've gone for in the comments down below. We're going to do weekly videos on FPL, at least this year on YouTube, as well as a load of short-form content. So if you're not following me on my TikTok, on my Instagram for the Reels, or looking out for the YouTube Shorts on this channel, make sure that you go and follow and subscribe on all of those, and you will get all of my content to do with FPL, as well as a load of other things as well. Shall we get things going? And I'm going to start things off with the bench that I've gone for in Game Week 1. We are starting things off with one of the most owned players in the entirety of FPL this year. It is Martin Dubravka. He's 4 million, he should be starting each week, and whilst he may not have the match fitness to start week 1, he should be starting every game week after that. If you can get a goalkeeper that plays for that price point every year, that is phenomenal, because budget on goalkeepers, you don't really want to go too high. As you can tell, even with the blur, we are playing a 3-5-2, so I've got two more defenders on the bench. The first one being Ezri Konsa of Aston Villa. He is a mainstay really for Villa. His spot should be secured for basically the entire season, barring any injuries or things like that. He can play at centre-back or right-back and hopefully get locked in with some of those defensive contribution points, as well as the occasional attacking return. Next to him, we've got a cheap player that should be starting every single week in Esteve for Burnley, 4 million, and should be starting. Again, you cannot go wrong with that. And it allows you more budget elsewhere in the team to go for some more premium players. And my final bench option is the also very highly owned Mark Gui, obviously a £4.5 million forward that should be starting games once he's fit for Sunderland after that move from Chelsea. It's basically a no-brainer if you can get someone that's actually playing for that price to allow that budget for the rest of the team. Speaking of, let's get into the starting 11. Out of everybody else's teams that I've been seeing all over social media, I don't think I've seen this player in one squad. So maybe it's a big risk for me, but I'm going with a £4.5 million keeper. A lot of people are going for Robert Sanchez or Sells for 5 mil. And then there's also other choices that you can go for 4.5, such as the likes of Kelleher. But I'm actually going to go for Mads Hermansen. I support Leicester. I know a lot about this guy. His shot stopping is actually just elite. And if he is coming back from his surgery in even close to the level that he was for Leicester, then he's going to be incredible, and he's going to be making a lot of saves for West Ham. They're playing this 3-5-2 system, and so there's even a world where he's going to be playing long balls out to the wing-backs, or even all the way up to one of like Bowen or Fulkrug, depending on who's playing. And he could end up with a couple of assists because of the way that he actually distributes the ball. I think for the price, he should be a nailed-on starter, and they've got some okay fixtures. Most notably, Game Week 1, they've got Sunderland away. If he's not starting or West Ham look absolutely terrible, then I could easily pivot to someone like Kelleher for Game Week 2. Let's move into the starting defenders. I've got 3 of these, and the first one is also West Ham. My initial draft that I made from FPL a few weeks ago when it first launched had Wan-Bissaka in it, but with the way that they have been playing in pre-season with this wing-back system, I've actually gone with Juve, who I think a lot of people are going to end up with. 4.5 million, either playing as a wing-back, or if they play a like 3-4-3 or 4-3-3, he ends up playing left wing for them. So lots of potential attacking output from Juve here, and a lot of people would focus on Wan-Bissaka because he's really good at defending, but in terms of the defensive contribution points, he actually wouldn't have got that many last season. So I think Juve is the one that I'm going to go for an attacking wing-back. And as it stands, that is my theme across this back line. So instead of going for the likes of Tarkowski, Milenkovic, I've gone with Pedro Porro here because once again, it looks like there is a world where Spurs, at least in some of their games, are going to be playing a 5-back system. And Pedro Porro is going to be that right wing-back. He's been on set pieces, so there is a lot of potential for attacking output from Pedro Porro. I really like him as a player as well. And so he is my second defender. And the third and final starting defender is the one that I'm umming and ahhing about the most, I think, in this team. Because I could either go a bit cheaper here and then bump up 2 defenders, or I could go for one of the other premium £6 million ones. You've got the likes of Gabriel, Saliba, Van Dijk, Frimpong, Aït-Nouri. As it stands, I've got Cucurella. Their starting fixtures are fantastic, and Cucurella over the last 12, maybe even 18 months, has been one of the best fullbacks in the world. We've seen his attacking returns towards the second half of last season as well. He was getting a lot of goal involvements, and Chelsea, I think, are just going to be really good this year. Okay, they did get the ACL to Colwill, which is a big shame for them overall, but I think Cucurella is still going to be really good this year, and so I'm bargaining here by going big with the 6 mil on him. Now we move into midfield, and the first player up, Tijani Reinders. A fantastic player. The question is, how many goal involvements is he going to get? How many defensive contribution points is he going to get? Fortunately, he is only coming in at 5.5 million, so he's very, very affordable, and he should be starting every single game. Kovacic is injured. Gundogan's done. Rodri, also injured for the first month or 2, which is massive. Reinders actually came on and scored a brace in one of their preseason games, and last season he was actually having his most prolific season in his career, really, for Milan. Is that going to continue at Man City? I would like to hope so for my team. Next up is one of only 2 players in this team that have been in there since the first draft and have never left. We've got Mo Salah. It feels like you have to have him for a couple of reasons. One, he's just the best FPL player, arguably ever. The guy is unbelievable. And last season was just an outright joke with his points. It was ridiculous. And for only 0.5 mil more than Haaland, it feels like you have to take that punt on him, and maybe not so on Haaland this year. I do think that he won't be getting as many goal involvements as last year, and that might be spread out around more Vert, Ekitike, Godi Hakpo, if they eventually sign Isak as well, even more so. However, it is so much easier to start the season with Salah in your team and then remove him and downgrade than it is to get him in at a later date. If it turns out that he scores a hat-trick in his first 3 games and he starts heading up towards 15 mil, you simply aren't going to be able to get him if you don't already. So Salah, fantastic opening captain fixture as well for me at home against Bournemouth. He has returned on the opening game of the season more so. Well, no one in history has got more FPL returns on the opening game of a season. So can he make it 10 seasons where he's got a goal or an assist? I hope so. This third midfield slot has changed many times throughout my drafts, and it's the one that I'm still not 100% sure on. I think that I'm locked in here, but there are so many questions going around in my head. I've ended up on Bukayo Saka. He's 10 mil this year, which is a lot. However, when he's fit, he's unbelievable. And last season before his injury, he was basically a guy that you needed in your team. In previous seasons, he's been phenomenal. And of course, he did cost less. But if we're going into a new season with Arsenal, Saka is going to once again absolutely smash it. He's going to be on set pieces again because that is part of his job, him and Declan Rice taking corners, free kicks and stuff like that. They've now got Victor Gyökeres up front, and so he can potentially get even more assists because they've got a proper striker there, and I feel like he's still going to be scoring a lot of goals. 10 mil though is up there with the most expensive midfielders. Other options that I have had in my team are the likes of Marmoush. Depending on where he's going to play for Man City, that could be a really, really good one that I think is maybe going under the radar a little bit. People are underestimating him. A lot of people are going for Florian Wirtz. I'm just a little bit scared to double up on Liverpool in midfield at the very beginning of the season. He's also new to the league, and although he is phenomenal as a player, we have to wait just a little bit of time to make sure that he is fully bedded in. And if he is, then maybe Saka moves out for Florian Wirtz as we move on. Bruno Fernandes was also in my draft for a long time. But I just think now that they've got their front three sorted, Bruno's going to be playing that deeper role. Is he going to get as many goal involvements as he has done throughout his Man United career if he's playing deeper? He is more likely to get the DEFCON points, and he got a lot of those, or would have got a lot of those last season. He was up there with the best. Like, he got 22 bonus from that. So you are missing out on that with Saka. However, I think you're going to get more goal output. And there are a couple of other options that are a slight less amount. You've got the likes of Eze this season. Morgan Rogers as well is also in there. Cody Gakpo that I spoke about earlier. I think that having Saka in here, if he doesn't get off to an absolute flyer, it means that I can downgrade and be able to afford those other players, whilst also not massively harming my overall team by having him in there. And one of the reasons that is feasible is because of my fourth player. I originally had a £6.5 million midfielder in my team. I was chopping and changing between the likes of Kudus, Iliman Ndiaye was also in there as well. But now, repping Leicester City again. Kiernan Dewsbury Hall got his move to Everton and he costs 5 mil. The Jack Grealish signing is a question mark when it comes to KDH, because in their recent game, after he signed, he played as a number 10 and was really, really good. I don't think that he is a 10, and I think he actually played his best for us for years when he was more of an 8. A box-to-box player that can sort of maybe get like the pre-assists, but not the actual assist or goal, and also getting involved defensively. He will put in an absolute shift, so I'm expecting to see some defensive contribution points from KDH this year. With Grealish signing, the question is whether he is going to play through the middle. If he is, as a number 10, then that means that KDH does get pushed back. If they plan to play Grealish out wide, does it mean that Ndiaye pushes in, or does it mean that KDH does still start in that position there, and you've got Ndiaye or Grealish playing out on the right-hand side? Question marks that will need an answer, and we'll see how that goes. But for 5 mil, there aren't many better value players in midfield this year that I think could get you well-balanced, all-rounder, attacking and defensive points. And he's a Leicester boy, so I love him. And my final midfielder to tie everything together, it wouldn't be a draft without Cole Palmer. Here's the other one alongside Salah that has been in since day one, since July launched FPL for this year. He's just amazing, isn't he? And 10.5 mil actually seems like a fantastic price when you compare it to the likes of Salah, Haaland, but then also the other midfielders. He should still be on penalties. He's going to be creating a load of chances, scoring a load of goals this year. Chelsea look like they're getting even better, so therefore he'll get even more points. I cannot fathom going into this season without Cole Palmer in your team, especially with those opening fixtures that Chelsea had that I mentioned during Cucurella. So what has this left me up front? Well, I've got 2 strikers. I've seen a fair few people actually going with a 4-5-1 this year, but for me, I'm starting off with 2. We are going with Ollie Watkins to kick things off, and this is another one that has changed many, many times. I've had Gyökeres in this team a lot, and I've finally switched to Watkins because I've been trying to look at as much data and everything that I possibly can. And in pre-season, he's been sharp. He's been doing really, really well. Gyökeres is not quite looking fully settled into Arsenal. I think by the end of the year, there is a very good chance that Gyökeres has scored more goals than Watkins, but it might take a little bit of time for that transition of points to go from Watkins to Gyökeres. That's what I'm hoping for. More assists for Watkins, you would assume, than Gyökeres as well, due to the way that Villa play. And you know that Watkins is a lock, whereas there is a world where Havertz, Gabby Jesus and the likes are going to take minutes away from the big Swede at the start of the season. So I think he'll do well. I really do this season. I could easily see him getting 20 goals. But Watkins also has a better first 5 fixtures. And I have what you would potentially say is Arsenal's talisman already in Bukayo Saka in the team. So hopefully the points will be shared pretty much between Gyökeres and Saka. Whereas the likes of Morgan Rogers, especially with this niggling injury that he's coming back from, I would like to think that Watkins would be getting more points there. And so therefore the balance is set that way. But there is a world where I switch things around as we go forward, as we talked about with the midfielders prior. And so I have one more player in this starting 11. Some of you will have been able to work out the budget and probably guess who this is from behind the blur. We've got 8 mil left in this team. You know who that means. It's Jarrod Bowen. As I said before, West Ham playing this 3-5-2 system. But Bowen is playing up front with Füllkrug. Füllkrug's actually been decent in pre-season. The question is whether he can stay injury-free. If he does, he might end up being a really, really good value player this year, because I think he's coming in at 6 mil, so he'd be able to save a chunk off of Bowen by going to Füllkrug and upgrading elsewhere, maybe to more premium defenders, or changing someone like a Reinders into a Morgan Rogers as the season goes on. So there are ways that we can slightly alter this going forward. What I've also done by going with Bowen here is allow myself the downgrade to many players. You've got Mateta, Chris Wood, João Pedro, any of the even cheaper ones like a Strand Larsen, Danny Welbeck that a lot of people are having in their teams. I can move to those. There's only a couple of players that I cannot switch Bowen to, and that is Gyökeres. We also cannot quite get Ekitike, but right now I don't mind it because I don't know exactly how well he's going to do. He did look good in the Community Shield, but we're still going to have to wait. And if it turns out that they're actually doing incredible, the likes of Wirtz and Ekitike, then maybe you don't need Salah, and therefore they're not even a problem to get in your team. I also can't get Isak. That doesn't matter as it stands because he's not going to play for Newcastle. If he moves to Liverpool, this whole team is going to need that wild card. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm pretty happy with my squad, I cannot lie. I do have 3 West Ham, which, considering where I put them in my predictions for the table, is very questionable. The reason, though, is because I think Hermansen will make a lot of saves, and for 4.5 mil, you're not really going to get a keeper that is making lots of clean sheets. You've got the likes of Petrovic at Bournemouth, Kelleher at Brentford, and now Hermansen at West Ham. They're not going to be getting 12 clean sheets this year, realistically, are they? You would imagine probably not. So I'm going to go with what I think is the best shot stopper out of them. Juve is really, really attacking. And so if you're taking a 4.5 mil player, you want someone that has got a good chance of getting points rather than just a guy that is saving you some money. And then Bowen is Mr. West Ham. If they are being successful in games, it's most likely due to him, or a huge contribution is down to him. So, as I've said a few times throughout this video, I'm not 100% locked that this will be my team, but I'm trying to stop myself from changing it, because otherwise I'm going to be changing it right up until the deadline tomorrow. So, Saka is still the scary one for me, because he is so much money. So many people have gone for Wirtz. So many people have gone for Bruno. I do allow myself the option to downgrade to those players in terms of value, though. So it's not the end of the world. It's not as if I'm going in without Salah, without Haaland, without Palmer, and then needing to somehow find the cash for those players. So that's my squad. Make sure you join the league. Let me know your thoughts on it and how it compares to your team. And good luck, everybody, because it's a fight for second place behind me.